I'm Chase, and this is All Things Random, and today we're getting wet. Now today we are looking at the US Divers Snorkeling Kit straight from Costco that you can pick up basically anywhere. Now I picked this up about 4 months ago because, you know, it was on sale, there was still snow on the ground, and that was before all the municipal pools were closed and everything was just sort of shut down. So this has just been sitting on the side waiting for everything to open back up. Well, it's now open, so we're gonna head to the pool and we're gonna do a few reviews on a few items that I would probably recommend, but I can't really recommend them yet because I haven't reviewed them. Well, I can tell you this, that today we're going to be reviewing the snorkel set from the US Divers, like I said, and in fact, I would show you the box that it came in, but I already unboxed it because this is the second time I'm doing the video because my microphone wasn't on. Thought I'd tell you that. So basically the reason I chose this US Divers kit is because the fins, not flippers, the fins are smaller than most fins. And I like the fact that they're pretty portable if you want to go on vacation like the Hawaii or something like that. Like me, I live in Alaska, travel to Hawaii, travel to the lower 48, and honestly, I usually bring my own stuff because who wants to rent stuff that's garbage anyway? So these are slightly smaller, and I've gotten rid of fins at the airport before because they were just too big. Our luggage was overweight and it was just a nightmare. These are small and I feel like they're a little more portable. The fins that I normally use are like this. They're freediving fins, and some are even like this. So these are pretty small and portable. I really like that. We'll get more into that when we get into the actual pool. Now this is the mask. The mask is actually extremely well made and extremely comfortable when it comes to the silicone that goes around your face and seals. We'll have to see just how well it seals. I have other masks, and I'll tell you what, this already feels more comfortable. Again, 40 bucks. That's how much I spent on one pair of goggles for this entire kit. Now it does have this strap on the back. I'm not really gonna be using this strap. Maybe I'll test it out. This just doesn't appeal to me, but if you have a man bun or you're a female with long hair, this may be nice because your hair doesn't get caught up in the silicone strap on the back of the head. So we're gonna test that out too. Now, the other thing that comes in the kit is the snorkel itself. Now, the snorkel is pretty well constructed, and I was actually pretty happy when I actually pulled it out of the package and saw, because I have a US Divers kit from a few years ago, and this is like worlds beyond that one, and it costs the same amount just a couple years later. Thanks, technology. Now, the one thing I like about this is the fact that it has a GoPro mount on the bottom, which means when you are underwater, you don't have the splash up that you would see on goggles with GoPros at the top of the goggle. Now, as you're snorkeling, anybody knows that you're looking around, you're like, oh, this is great, and then you're really surfacing and subsurfacing and surfacing and subsurfacing, you got the splash and everything else. Well, this sort of gets rid of it because it's down below. Now, the one thing I also like is the fact that it has this action right here at the top, which means that if a wave comes up and does this, basically what happens is it seals it so it doesn't go in the snorkel itself. But if it does have a purge valve, which makes things a lot easier. Now, the thing I don't like about this is the fact that they say you can keep this in your mouth and go underwater and this seals up and it's just fine. Well, any diver or any free diver will tell you that when you have an underwater blackout, well, the last thing you want is something in your mouth, because you actually have a reflex where your sort of body clenches up and you don't breathe anymore. But if you have something in your mouth, your body can't really clench up. We'll go over that more in the pool. So we'll have to see. This is way better quality than anything that I have right now. Of course, the only time I snorkel is when I'm scuba diving, and that's just to see, you know, to sort of swim out into where I'm actually gonna drop down to. But let's actually just, you know what? Let's just go out to the pool. Now, first off, the goggles. The goggles are actually pretty comfortable, and the silicone seals quite nicely around my face. In fact, I would actually prefer these over my old goggles. Now, as for the snorkel attaches just fine to the goggles, and it actually has a pretty nice fit in the mouth. Pretty comfortable. Now, these fins are very comfortable on the feet. They're easily, quickly adjusted, and with the barefoot, they are pretty comfortable. But like most things, takes a lot more work to get through because they're shorter. Now, as for the snorkel itself, now here I'm going to dive down in the pool with the snorkel in my mouth, and it does actually seal out water like they say. However, just like with any shallow water blackout, you really don't want that in your mouth. So here I take it out of my mouth and dive down like you should, and it unclips from my mask. This is the one thing that I really don't like because the clip isn't as solid as I would prefer. It actually unclips several times while doing the test on the pool in this. Now here I'm going to do it again. I point down, I take it out of my mouth, and I dive down. I'm using my hands way too much, but it's just to orient myself. Now, all in all, I think the kit is pretty good and it functions as it should for a relatively cheap price of, I think, $40 to $45. Again, I've had this for several months in my garage just waiting for the pools to open up. Now, I only have a few moans about this product. One is the fact that the snorkel doesn't clip on very well to the mask. You don't want to lose it while you're out in the ocean. Another thing is the goggles do fog up easier than I expect them to in 2020. Now, if this was 5 years or 10 years ago, all goggles fog up. It is the nature of being underwater. However, I just expected them to do better. You can use anti-fog. In fact, I did use anti-fog and it still fogged up. They say just keep them dry and they won't fog up, but the goggles are on and off and on and off, and they're bound to get moisture in them. It was just something to mention for the future. Now, what are my final thoughts on this US Divers kit? Honestly, I'm really excited to take this to a beach somewhere and see just how well it travels. I'm really happy with the way the fit was on my feet with the fins, not flippers, the fins, and I like the fact that they're adjustable and they weren't just like a one set boot with sort of an elastic strap at the end, which was the old style US Divers. Now, I honestly like the way the mask fits. I think that it sealed pretty nicely and I didn't have any water issues. However, just like anything else, there's going to be some fogging unless you put some spit or some anti-fog on the inside and clean them properly. If not, you're going to get fogging. It is the nature of the game. Now, I got a lot of videos coming up in the future, especially underwater diving stuff. I got an underwater diving cell phone case that's different than the one that I've reviewed in the past. It's more universal. It fits like 20 phones as opposed to it being phone specific. I also am going to be doing an underwater knife test where I take a cheap knife and a really expensive knife, and I basically do some drown proofing because I tie weights to my legs. Well, at least I will. This is the plan. I tie different weights to my legs, different straps to my legs. We're going to be cutting nylon cord. We're going to be cutting rope. We're going to be cutting fish line and everything else to see just what is the better knife. Now, if you like videos like this, hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a comment of the content you guys would like to see on this channel. I have a lot of videos coming up in the future, so hit that notification bell so you guys can be notified when I drop my next video. Until next time.